So here we are in a patch of ground ivy. Early May here in southeastern Ontario. The ground ivy is blooming abundantly, and it's blooming a little earlier than usual. It being so abundant and blooming early makes me want to speak about it. Also because ground ivy, also known as creeping Charlie, Glechoma hederacea, is an important medicinal plant, and I think it might actually have some particularly important medicinal properties for these times. So I wanted to speak about it. So it really stands out the most, of course, when it's flowering. In the sort of mid-springtime is generally when we see it, and it grows on lawns. It grows in open, sunny areas. It'll tend to grow places where it'll get mowed. I don't know if you can hear in the background, neighbors are mowing. So there are lawns around, lawns and fields and stuff here where we are. And we do find ground ivy growing in patches on them at certain times. In certain locations. So the ground ivy, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it is because this herb is a really great chelator of heavy metals. So it has been shown to help chelate lead out of the system. It is surmised that it could also help to chelate out mercury, possibly cadmium, possibly a number of other heavy metals. And so this is one of the herbs that I work with to be part of a heavy metal cleansing protocol. And I think that those are particularly needed these days because we all tend to be picking up and carrying heavy metals that are present in the air, in the water, in the soil, in products that people use for all kinds of things, which eventually end up in the water, soil, air, etc. And they interfere with our ability to take up minerals that we need. They block their receptor spots on cells, and they also can help. They can cause our system to sort of clog up. They can slow down our ability to detox all kinds of things and can lead to all kinds of issues. So I think thinking about heavy metals and thinking about doing things to help pull them out is a good idea. And of course, for some people, that might mean like a serious detox protocol where they really, there's a whole bunch of things you can do to cleanse heavy metals. Take binders and support all your detox processes and a lot of pieces. This could be one of them, and this could also be something that was just sort of taken as a herb for a time, even if you're not doing a full heavy metal detox protocol, just to kind of help keep your system clearing and help ensure that you're getting the minerals that you need and not hanging on to these heavy metals, which can really cause a whole host of issues. So we have here the ground ivy as a medicine for that, in addition to just being a medicine that will help for colds and flus and buildup especially in the head, in the nose, ear, nose, throat kind of area, ears, like ear infections. It's a tremendous herb, and also occasionally like chest, mostly upper respiratory, but a little bit also lower respiratory. It's a nice lymphatic herb, which is always great in helping to clear out colds and flus. And also you want to be cleansing your lymph system if you're clearing out heavy metals from your system, because they're going to clear through your lymph system. So Glechoma hederacea, ground ivy, is in the mint family. And we can tell mint family plants because the classical identification comes from their flowers, which have two petals. It looks like more, but it's actually just one upper lip and one kind of hanging down lower lip that has sort of three lobes to it. So it's just an upper and a lower. and 2 petals, and very ornate, pretty tiny. And these petals are coming out of the stalk of the main stalk of the plant. And the main stalk of plants in the mint family will be square shaped. So I don't know how easily you can see that on here, but if you feel the edges of the stalk, they've got four edges to them, right? They're not just rounded. They've got like 4 angles. So we call it kind of a square-shaped stalk. And that's another classical indication of the mint family. And the mint family spreads its roots adventitiously, which means that it'll send its roots out in every direction and send up new shoots. So you get these huge swaths of mint family plants. And if you grow mint in your garden or lemon balm, you know probably that that's how they spread. Eventually you have to manage them and sort of maybe dig some out and transplant it or whatever, because it will try to take over often through these adventitious kind of creeping roots. So ground ivy is also known as creeping Charlie. Many people know it as that. And that's because, these roots will spread all along. They'll creep along the, grass, because that's usually where it's growing, on lawns and stuff. And so another characteristic of the mint family. Another mint family characteristic that we find often is aroma, right? Mint, lemon balm, basil, these are all aromatic mint family plants. Well, ground ivy actually has a really nice aroma too. So a lot of people recognize this plant because they'll walk on it because it's on their lawns and such, but they don't realize that it has an aroma. If you lie down in it like I am, you can get the aroma, but also if you just rub a little bit in your hand, and then you could even pick a little bit and smell it. You'll get, it's a kind of musky, kind of like perfumey sort of scent, and that comes through in the flavor too. You can eat ground ivy, but it's a little bit bitter. The bitterness is, of course, helpful in supporting your detox process. It supports your liver and your digestion and your ability to take up nutrients and clear out wastes. So that part's helpful. It's not crazy bitter, but it's got a mild bitterness, and then you sort of taste the aroma. It actually makes a pretty nice cup of tea, and you could sweeten it with honey if you wanted. I would recommend that if you were taking it for a cold or flu, or kind of like mucus in your system. If you were doing it for detox, probably more ideal not to sweeten it, just because the bitterness, as I was saying, helps to support the detox. So here's some young burdock leaves over here on the side. Burdocks coming in too. Speaking of detox, another time I'll talk about that one. So so these are sort of the main things. Lymphatic, general detox support, especially for heavy metals in the system, and also for like cold and flu and debris and stuff in the system, which is basically a process of detox as well. And so it really helps to support that. And in the same way that ground ivy is a medicine for us, it's also a medicine for the land. So I want to point this out because this is an important piece. Of course, we know that the land can, in certain areas, be holding on to heavy metals from all kinds of chemicals that people are using that are ending up in the land, especially like if they're spraying, herbicides and pesticides, or different chemicals that might be used outdoors, paints and things that end up, or like machine stuff, chemicals used on them that end up on the land. And so the ground ivy will tend to grow also in areas where there's an accumulation of particularly lead, but also other metals. And it will help to chelate those metals from the land, making it better for other things to grow eventually. Of course, you don't want to be harvesting the ground ivy that's growing in those areas. That's not a good idea. That is medicine for the land, and it's going to defeat the purpose of cleansing out heavy metals for you. So please be aware of where it's growing and of the quality of the land where it is. If it's on your lawn and you've been there for a long time and you know what's going on there, then you know that it's pretty safe, because it also just sort of tends to creep around and grow, and it gets pollinated easily. The bees love it. I was seeing a bunch of honeybees on here yesterday, but it also, if it's growing somewhere and you're not totally sure about the land, it's best to find out about it first if you can, before harvesting it, and otherwise just wait to find it in another area where it's safer if you're going to harvest it for medicine. It can be dried for tea, about a teaspoon of crushed up herb per cup of boiled water, steep for about 10 minutes with a lid on, and the lid will help to keep the medicine in as it steeps. And then you can drink it, and you can use it fresh as well, a small handful of herbs per cup. I also make tincture with it. I extract it in brandy usually, because that makes a nice flavor, but it can extract in vodka, like 40% alcohol, chopped up in a jar, covered with alcohol, kept in a dark place for about a month, shaken up every now and then you can strain it out or just keep it as it is. And you would take, the dosage can be anywhere from sort of a few drops if you put it in a dropper bottle to like a teaspoon, 1 to 3 times per day. I tend to go lower doses first, and sometimes that's plenty, but sometimes, in some cases, you need more. So those are the main things I want to say about this plant, and also pay attention to it. I'm focusing on it for all the reasons I said, and because it's in flower, it's so noticeable and so beautiful. But it's around throughout the whole year, and it's available for medicine throughout the whole year. So if you see patches of something that looks like, a mint, a catnip, an oregano, something like that, smell it and check it out and see if maybe it is ground ivy. Like in the summer, it won't be in flower, but it'll still be around. And in the fall, same thing. And actually, if you mow it, sometimes the flowers keep coming back for a little bit, which is kind of lovely. So some people have issues with it because it's a weed, but I wanted to say it's a really good medicine too. And when plants show up in abundance, I pay attention. And because I am feeling concerned about heavy metals in us these days, I wanted to share some stuff about our good friend ground ivy. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friends.